These stories I tell are not just fiction. They are echoes of real moments, stitched together from my life, from the quiet triumphs and deep wounds of those I love, and from strangers who've cried in my arms or who direct message me, trusting me with the softest parts of their lives. These stories are part of my reality, our shared reality. They are not made to glamorize pain, but to give it a voice. Because what starts out beautiful often turns complicated. What felt like forever sometimes disappears before the morning of my new joy. What began as truth may become a tangle of secrets, of silence, of betrayal. But even in the heartbreak, there is something sacred, the resilience to keep breathing, to keep hoping, to keep believing that the next chapter might still bring healing. I don't tell these stories to shock you. I tell them to prepare you. Life doesn't always come with warnings. People don't always stay true. Love doesn't always protect you from hurt. But my stories, they remind us that even when everything falls apart, you can still stand up, wipe your tears, and write your next page. I was born into complexity. Being of a multiracial background means I see the world in layers. Nothing is just black and white to me. It's cultural, emotional, historical. It's the tension of belonging everywhere, and sometimes feeling like you belong nowhere. I've lived through the strange ache of being underestimated, of being over-explained, of having to find my own voice when no one handed me a script. And yet, I have found beauty in my blended identity. It gave me empathy. It gave me nuance. It gave me the lens to tell stories that many relate to, but few dare to say out loud. My marriage? It has its own backstory. Before our us, there was a before. My partner lived a life filled with love and betrayal. He walked through storms before we ever stood hand in hand. And so did I. I too have loved deeply. I have been adored. And I have been betrayed. I've known what it feels like to see a promise break in someone else's eyes, to feel the air leave the room when the truth finally arrives. But here we are, with a marriage built not on illusion, but on choice, on choosing every day to forgive old wounds and past mistakes, to fight for peace, to laugh even when it's hard, to share a life that was never guaranteed, but now is deeply cherished. And motherhood? That's a story in itself. 3 children, 3 hearts that beat beside mine, 3 lives I've watched bloom with brilliance and bravery. They are successful, yes, in school, in career, in life. But more importantly, they are whole. They know love. They've experienced heartbreak. They've weathered betrayal. And yet, they still believe in people, still believe in family, still believe in themselves. Because in our home, we talk about the hard things. We don't hide the pain. We honor it. We grow from it. So why do I tell these stories? Because someone needs to hear that they're not alone. Someone out there is holding their breath in the middle of a crumbling relationship, unsure if they're the villain or the victim, and they need to know. Sometimes you're both. Someone is raising a child alone, wondering if they'll ever feel whole again. Someone just found out the person they loved was loving someone else all along. And someone else? They've moved on, but they still wake up at night, wondering if the pain will ever completely leave. I tell these stories because they are real, because pain is real, but so is joy, so is redemption, so is starting again. These stories come from a place of lived truth, real joy, real heartbreak, real survival, real hope. So if you've ever said, "That could have been me," know this: these stories are already yours, and I'll keep telling them, because your silence deserves a voice, because your story deserves to be seen, because somewhere in the unraveling, there's still something worth holding on to. And maybe, just maybe, hearing my stories will help you find the courage to start writing your own. And if you've ever whispered, "That could have been me," then these stories were always yours too. With truth, with heart, I am Yendi Lance,